Hello guys, it's Christian from Emotions in Wine. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. We continue with the series of the summer wines. As I promised, some I do the individual video for the grape. So today Vermentino is per title. Unfortunately now I have as usual two bottles and one is slightly corked. Pity. I will just continue and give a try to see. Is slightly, so it's mostly on the nose, on the palate not that much, but anyway, it's not a proper wine. Vermentino is mostly from Sardinia. In fact, there are Vermentino di Sardegna, DOC, and Vermentino di Gallura, DOCG. The DOCG is the only one in the island and is from 96. That was the first DOC of Vermentino, so it's the best area located, while Vermentino in Sardinia was given in 1988. Vermentino is present, as said, in Sardinia, is the main grape, white grape. Then you find it in Corsica, Northern Ireland, French, south of France in Languedoc, and quite a bit in the Liguria region, on the coast, the northern coast of Tuscany, and a bit also in Piedmont, where it's called Favorita. High acidity naturally, semi-aromatic grape, early budding, late ripening, which is common to other grapes we saw before, is a bit of trouble in the maturation. That's why Sardinia with the Mediterranean climate is perfect. So hotter, drier, more sunny, then also the reflection from the sea, extra sun, and at the same time breezy, so keeping a bit cooler nights, so retaining aromatics and acidity, so all helping. So Sardinia is the perfect terroir for this grape. It's not known if originated there or where, but that is indeed the best expression that can give. Vermentino di Sardegna, really more easy summary. Vermentino di Gallura, a bit richer in many cases, especially more complexity, also herbal notes besides the citrusy, fruity, and some floral, and a bit oilier, and with good aging potential. Usually it's fresh. Oaky versions are very rare. It's done also sparkling and sweet, but some Gallura can age very well. I tried before one of the top names. After 10 years was an outstanding wine. But the Vermentino di Sardegna usually don't give much after 2-3 years. But we see, I'm curious. Here there are two wineries. One that I tried before, the corked, the second, while a new one to me, the first. Usual problem of Sardinia. Farmers are very tiny. The island is still isolated. That's why the cooperatives thrive very well in the last decades, and they are second only to Alto Adige. By the way, link below to the other video about Sardinia, Carignano del Sulcis, an amazing red, where I mentioned these topics about the cooperatives. One of the two wines there was from cooperative. So still tough to find small niche farmers wineries on the market. In fact, these two are quite recent, from this millennium, both Sardinians, but I guess both who returned to the island after business lives and created from zero, from scratch, these companies. Both in the north of the island, so Nuraghe, Crabioni, Vermentino di Sardegna, 23 vintage, 13 alcohol, is in Sassari province, so northwest, not far from the sea, and Jankara, or Jankara, Vermentino di Gallura, Superiore, DOCG, 24 vintage, 14 alcohol. This is, as hinted, the cork one, unfortunately. So, medium size, they are about 20 hectares or so. This was created in 2003, while Jankara in 2008. So, very recent. This is the kind of wineries that you can find a bit on the markets besides the cooperatives. Others is very difficult. This is a bit a pity, but it's the issue of this kind of place a bit remote even from Italy. So I start to pour, open a bit earlier. These are anyway not that important whites. As you can see, maybe the color is quite light pale yellow with greenish rims even more than, and it's a bit surprising because Crabioni is 23, but still very lively color, which is, I don't know them at all. I just study now the info, but seems an interesting winery, and this is also a sign that it can have a nice aging potential even being a Vermentino di Sardegna. So interesting to see. We will discover along the tasting. Sardinia has mostly sandy clay on limestone. Gallura is a bit different, is granite, and stop usually sand. Majority of Vermentino in Sardinia is close to the sea or a bit inner, but smooth, low hills. Is the case of Crabioni, is in the north, as I said, near Gallura, but is still not far from island of Asinara, so it's in proximity of the sea, on around 100 meters hills, so it's very smooth. Sandy clay on top of limestone, while Jankara is a bit inner in Gallura, in the higher part, in the high Gallura, at 300 meters with the mountain on the south and the sea west and north at about 20 kilometers, so equal. There is also a lake nearby, so it's a bit a particular part of Gallura, interesting. It's a bit cooler, being also altitude higher, and the mountain being nearby. So that is already a big difference. And it's all granite there, the soil. The plantation on the island is not that different, considering Vermentino di Sardegna all around and Gallura only there, but the production is almost double from Vermentino di Sardegna because the yield is much higher per hectare than in Gallura. This is also Superiore, but Superiore is only about the alcohol, so more selected vineyard, not much else. Nuraghe Crabioni, so the winery is from 2003, 20 hectares, modern technology, long history in the area of winemaking. They started with a modern cellar. They give a nice tour if you go to visit. They make several wines. This is the standard Vermentino, still on fine lees for several months. As hinted, the color is showing youth. That's quite interesting for a 23. Let's see how it shows. Quite classic. Some citrusy, but more other fruit. Very pleasant fruity notes. Not that complex so far. Touch of floral. The Mediterranean scrub or herbal notes in general are more typical of Gallura, but sometimes you find even in more quality Vermentino di Sardegna. Minerality is quite pronounced. Very nice structure, long, so acidity, minerality, the fruit, touch sweet fruit, depth is very good actually, so it's staying there a lot. So it's a very nice aperitif, but even better seafood or simple pasta dishes match, because of this depth is really cleaning with this mineral, and this has a good aging potential actually, because it's 23, so it's almost 2 years old, but still very lively, fresh, easy drinking anyway, so can age pretty well. So it's already a sign that this winery is working well on quality, not too much yields eventually per hectare, not too easy drinking like others. So one of the best I had so far from the first impression. Prices are usually very reasonable in Sardinia. It's the case even here. This one is below 20, is more about 18, while Jankara is around 20 euros. I bought online in Italy. So very reasonable prices for very interesting wines. Changing a bit, but not that much. Change a bit the spectrum of fruits, but still more or less there. So different fruits, the mineral, touch of flower. So not that complex, but it's not what you expect from a normal Vermentino. elegant, so overall very pleasant. He's really doing his job with his nice persistence, salivating, freshness, minerality, so perfect match for the food, as I said. So it's a very nice wine. And with the better energy potential than usual, being 23, so lively still. Perfect summer wine indeed. So, Jankara, a bit younger, in 2008, founded by local Sardinian guy with a wife, but they emigrated. So they came back, invested, so even in this case, not traditional winemaking or farming. They picked this interesting place in the high Gallura inner. I tried this wine already several years ago. It's considered one of the very best in Gallura, even quite structured, as we see with the 14 alcohol. The yield must be even lower, they don't specify, but they just say the 7 months on 5 leaves in still, and then bottle. Granite soil, as said, 300 meters the vineyards. Yeah, the nose is cork. So, as said, also here, green ring is cork, so not much to say about the wine. Clearly cork now on the nose. I just give a sip to see. No. Too corked also. Increased actually, because now it's a bit less chilled. So you feel it a bit more. I can just say that on the palate, you still can perceive the minerality, the freshness, the length, a bit more complexity than the other, I would say, but this is also 24, so it's fresher. Of course, in complexity, we still have to take its time, but of course, being Gallura, DOCG, is showing a bit more complexity and more structure with the 14 alcohol already in young age. So, interesting structure on the palate, but yeah, I cannot say much else about the other characteristics because it's all covered, unfortunately. And I cannot even replace it being out of Italy. That's it. Not the best tasting so far. Interesting wineries, both recommended. This one, at least I know it from before, so I can guarantee. And this one is a nice discovery. Perfect summery wines, and even a bit more than that. I think Jankara have also a good aging potential, but even here, as I said, shows that it can age nicely. It's a grape to keep into consideration. I hope you enjoyed, even if it was not all perfect this time. Like, subscribe, comment please, support the channel, and see you next time. Salute!